Good morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our live class today. It is 10 a.m. on Friday morning, and based on the survey responses I got, sounds like this is a decent time for those of you who want to join. So thanks for filling that out. As usual, you can participate by adding questions or comments to the chat on YouTube, or I'll also have my phone here, so if I get Discord notifications, I'll see that as well. If you want to just post in the general channel, if you can't get on YouTube or you don't have an account for some reason, or you just don't want to post on there, that's fine. So I will just kind of wait here for a couple minutes as hopefully some people join, and then we'll get started. You can see behind me here the basic outline for what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to get into the first module, that is the assignments and things that we'll be due next Friday. So today I'm going to go through most of those assignments, and then on Monday for the nighttime live class, I'm going to go through the lab in more detail, the kit lab. So I picked up my lab kit. If you hold on, it seems like my levels are a little higher. If you haven't had a chance to get this yet, please do so. The lab kits are available at Harper. Sorry, I just want to get too loud here. The lab kits are available at Harper. They, you can go anytime today until 7 p.m. You can also go Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday anytime between 10 and 7. I will be there tonight between 4 and 7, and Monday also 4 to 7. So if you want to meet me in person, you can come by, pick up your lab kit. You'll just pull up to the front of the Avante building there, and there's a number you can call on the sign, and then I'll come out and give you your kit. Those of you who have picked them up already, thank you. You're all set. So we'll be going through this today, and I'll just kind of show you what the stuff is. Very high-tech packaging, as you can see, but it should be what we need. All right. So let's start. If there aren't any questions first, let's get started with talking about the articles, because there's a little bit of confusion in terms of what's supposed to be happening, what you're supposed to do with those. So if you go into the module overview, you'll notice there's really two different article-based assignments for this week, or this module, these 2 weeks. And they're totally separate. Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining in. I know you said you go by Fabi, right? Good to see you. So there's two different assignments based on articles, and just I understand how that can be confusing. So let's go through those. So first we have first of all, every module that all 8 modules for this semester will have this overview. So you'll have what are the outcomes? What are you supposed to be able to do? And then what are the activities, the things that you do but don't turn anything in? And then what are the assignments? Those are the things that you'll be turning in for credit. So the assignments this week, you've got a lab safety quiz, this discussion on the articles, defining science, and then the article report, which is different, the AtHome Experiment proposal, and the chromatography lab, which uses your supplies from your kit. So let's look at those two different article things. So the first one is the discussion. If you go into activities, and I know some people have asked about this. Sorry, being a little slow for me today. Wow, okay, extremely slow. All right, well, while that's going, while that's loading in the background, let's take a look at what's going on in this kit here. So for the first lab, we'll be using these chromatography strips. So when you get your lab kit, you should have a bunch of pieces of paper with black dots on them for the chromatography experiment. And then you should notice that some of them also have some writing on them. So they say like pilot, PM, something like that. And so when we get into that experiment on Monday, you'll see what those are for. There's also a ruler, so for measuring things, a plastic beaker, a graduated cylinder for measuring liquids. This is not drugs. This is a chromatography, an acid-base indicator T. So you'll be using this to determine whether things are acids or bases. You're actually going to make a T that acts as an indicator. So hang on to that for now. That's going to come up later. We've got some baking soda for a future experiment. And then there's these little beads. These are kind of fun. You can take them out and play with them if you want. These are ultraviolet sensitive beads. So when they get ultraviolet light, they will change color. And you can play with those if you want. Like it's reversible, so you can try those out before we do the actual stuff. The only thing I wouldn't mess with yet is the chromatography stuff, because you really only get one shot at that. All right, so back to the articles. There's these 3 articles here, all about kind of what science is, and defining what science is in a couple different ways. So the first one comes from a physicist named Richard Feynman, who was a famous physicist, but was also famous just for his communication of science. He liked to talk to people about science and write about it outside of his actual like professional being a physicist. So one thing he did was give lectures on kind of the nature of science and what it is and what it isn't. So this first one, if I can get it to load here. Maybe. Well, I'll just tell you. Okay, so the first one from Richard Feynman kind of talks about what does it mean to know things in a scientific way versus not, and what are the consequences of that. And he's writing this in the mid 1900s, mid to late 1900s, and in that era, and to him, science is a sort of a perfectly neutral pursuit. It's a way of knowing things in this particular way, and he kind of says that all of the bad things that can be associated with science are not actually scientific, but political in nature. And so I would, so that's what he writes about that. And so I would read there and get some definitions and what he's thinking about science in that way. Then this next one actually comes from Einstein writing on science and religion. Now, this isn't a philosophy course. We're not going to be debating science and religion, but we're defining science in contrast to these other ways of knowing things. And so that's something we're going to be talking about in the discussion is how are some different ways that we can know things, and then how have people thought about that in the past. So this comes from Albert Einstein, whom you've certainly heard of, famous physicist, again, who did a lot of thinking about what is the nature of science and what does it mean and what does it not mean. And I'm trying to scroll through here, but I think I have just overloaded my computer with stuff right now, so it's being really slow. So we'll get into that one as well. And then the third one is from a book called Science for All Americans, which was an idea of kind of bringing the ideas of science to a broader audience, and again, defining what science is and what it is not. So I haven't posted any kind of assignments on these because it is a lot of reading, and I want to give you time to actually get through it and understand it. This afternoon, you'll see a new channel go up on Discord with some specific questions for this discussion. Now, just a couple things about the discussion. So first, of course, we all want to be respectful to each other and each other's views and opinions about these things. But more so than that, we want to focus our discussion on the reading. So while yes, I'm interested in general in your opinions, what I really want first is to discuss what we're reading. What are these people's ideas of what science is? And then we'll get into kind of how we fit there or not. So read these articles and I'll give you some stuff to get started. When I grade the posts from Discord, I'm really looking for evidence of reading and understanding. So I want to know that you've gone through these readings and that you understand what they are, what they're talking about, and what their opinions are, and how they're similar or different among the 3 different readings. So try to stick to posting about what you're seeing in the readings rather than your own personal opinions about these things at first, and then we'll get into that later. So that's the article discussion. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the first thing on the list, which was defining science. Not the first thing, but the defining science thing. What's caused a little bit of confusion is there's another assignment this week. It's an article report. And so article reports, there's a video I recorded last semester about what that entails. But the syllabus, I think, says there's going to be 8 of them. There's not going to be that many. There's only going to be 4. Then we're going to transition to another type of reading and writing about articles. But this is meant to get you engaged a little bit with news type articles about science. So as you can see in the video from last time, you're looking for articles that are published in kind of standard news type sites. So major newspapers, science publications like Chemical and Engineering News, or Science News, or New Scientist, Scientific American, those types of publications. So science publications, but that are written for a general audience, not research papers. We'll get into research papers later. We're looking at general audience type stuff now. So just for an example, you don't have to use this site, but if you go to the, again, if my computer can handle it, but if I go to the New York Times, without angering my browser too much, they have a weekly science section, and so that's what I'm trying to show here is you can actually go through the so right along the header here, there is a science section. You can go in there and find some articles. They don't have to be exactly chemistry, but there is a requirement that you somehow tie it to chemistry. And chemistry is really a broad category. So you can really do this in a lot of different ways. If you have any questions, send me a message on Discord with the link to the article and just say, hey, what do you think about this article? Does this seem to work? I'll open it up. I'll take a look at it, and I'll let you know. I'll say, yeah, I think that works, or not. Yeah, let's see if I can speed this up a little bit. I don't know. Well, hopefully something's working. Sorry. Not sure why it's being like this morning. Get rid of my outline here. All right, well, while that's loading, another thing that I wanted to talk about problems again. All right, well, I can't tell if this is working right now. It looks like it's back maybe a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna assume we're okay now. We can always redo this later, or you can ask questions later if needed. Um, all right, so labs this week. So if we were in person, the first week would really be focused on safety, safely working in the labs, dealing with spills, emergencies, stuff like that. I want you to still learn that stuff, even though we're working at home. The idea is that we're still meeting the same goals that we would if we were in person at Harper in the lab. So there's a lab safety video, there's a lab safety quiz that I want you to complete. You have to redo the lab safety quiz until you get 100%. That's how we've always done it in person. You can do it as many times as you want. You can look up the answers. You can use the lab safety video for the answers, but you have to get 100% on that quiz to be considered lab safety trained. So please take that quiz over until you get 100%. If there's some that you just cannot figure out, you cannot find, let me know and I'll give you a hint and help you out with those. That's the idea of being safely trained in the lab. Now, obviously, that's not let's see. Is it? Yeah, the stream is not working well. Hold on. Anybody else? Is it back? Yeah, thanks, Olivia and Fabi. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I had a internet interruption or something. Is it any better yet? Let me know if it comes back. Otherwise, we'll just try again later today. It looks like on my end things are going okay right now. Doesn't mean they're going to stay good. All right. Well, we'll say it's okay for now, and I'll keep going. And if you didn't get this information, we'll come back and do it again. Such is the technology. So anyway, the idea is oh great, okay. Thanks for letting me know that it seems to be better now. So the idea is to kind of pretend that we're doing our labs in lab and using the same kinds of safety precautions and safety ideas. So that's why we're still doing the lab safety quiz and the safety video, just as though we were in class. All right. So the last assignment, or the other two assignments then for this week, are the labs, the at-home experiment proposal and the chromatography lab. So for the at-home experiment proposal, again, there's a video kind of detailing what that means, and there's a form to fill out there. I talked about this a little bit last time too. You can really find whatever you want that is chemistry related to do at home. It's at your own risk, so I would recommend doing something with a risk level that you're willing to take on. And that could be none. That could be a virtual lab, like where you find some online activity that is like doing a chemistry lab. That's totally okay if you don't want to be messing with any materials, or you can't get the materials where you are. That's fine. You don't have to go buy chemicals and do a whole big thing. But if you want to, or if you've got kids around that you want to do it with, you want to pick something that's kind of safe. If you look up any kind of like at-home chemistry experiments, there's all kinds of stuff out there. I do want to make sure that you're being safe, so I'm probably not going to prove anything that involves like fire or explosions. So please don't propose those. But there are lots and lots of ways that you can explore chemistry around your house. You can do things with cooking. You can do things with food in other ways, other types of materials, things maybe you saw on TV or on YouTube that look like they might be fun, things that you can do at home with like I said, with kids or other people around, all of that would be okay. So go ahead and propose that. And as soon as I start getting those in, I'll go through them and approve them or ask you for a little bit more. What is going to be a little bit different about these, and you can see on the other video that explains this in more detail, is that, we're in college, so it's not enough to just find some directions and follow them. I want you to think a little harder about that. So the main idea of the at-home experiment is that you're going to be slightly changing things in a systematic and scientific way, so that you're thinking, all right, what happens if I do this instead? Or what happens if I do this instead? And then did this meet the expectations? Or was this a surprise? This was not what I expected. And that's really what the meat of your assignment is when it comes to writing up those labs, is you're going to be changing things and thinking about the procedure, not just following directions, like a second grader or whatever, and just doing what you found online. So you're going to do it, and then you're going to think about what's going on, change it, and then write in your notebook reflectively about what happened and whether that was what you expected or not. So that's how we're going a little bit beyond just following some simple instructions. All right, and then the last thing for this week is the chromatography lab, which you're going to use your kit for. So I'm actually going to do the lab live, if I can get everything working, on Monday for the Monday evening session. So you're welcome to do it along with me, or you can do it on your own. Let's see if I can get into my folders better now, or if it's still going to be extremely slow. I don't know. Well, yeah, looks like I angered it too much. Okay. Well, we'll hold this off. I'll see if I can figure out a way to make things a little bit smoother. I don't know why I haven't had this issue before, so I'm not sure what's going on today, but I will work on it, and we'll come back and talk about the chromatography lab. There are some other videos like in the modules, so make sure that you watch about the article reports, about the at-home experiments, and about the labs, and keeping a good lab notebook. And then you can get started on all that stuff. Watch for the article discussions coming up starting today. Again, you have all week to work to do this stuff. Everything is due next Friday. So that's the orientation module, as well as this first module here is due next Friday night. All right, so I'm sorry the stream didn't work better this morning. I'll try to figure out what's going on there. So again, please make sure to get your lab kits picked up. After next Wednesday, there's no way to get them. So those, I know I've talked to a couple of you about some special circumstances, but you have to go get those picked up so you can do the labs at some point between now and Wednesday. So please let me know if that is impossible for you to do, but let me know now so we can work something out. I really don't want to get messages on Thursday saying, oh yeah, I didn't get the lab kit. What do I do now? So please do that and get started with other stuff, and let me know if you have further questions. So I will stop talking now. I think things are relatively smooth, but I'm not going to try to load anything else up on Blackboard, because that seems to anger it. But those of you who are watching live, if you have any other questions or things you want me to address right now, I'll pause for a second and answer those before saying goodbye for now.